together in a class, introduce them to a community partner. In this case, it's been a group called Breathe LA, who were interested in bringing awareness to COPD, and they in turn introduced us to Terry and Dan here at Pep Pioneers to get us to give us some connection to people who have COPD and the challenges that you go through. So as a group or as a class, we spend our first third of a semester really researching the topic, learning about it, and getting to know more about it, and understanding people who are affected by it, and trying to understand how the rest of the world sees it. And so that's the first third of the semester. The second third of the semester, we propose projects that might support your mission or Breathe LA's mission in building awareness for the disease, letting people know what it's about. And we do that through our own particular knowledge base, right? So when students come together, they have all different sets of skills and abilities and different ways of working. And together they come up with ideas and proposals to help spread awareness or to help support your mission as a group. And then the third part of the semester, the last 5 to 6 weeks, is spent in actually developing those proposals, developing those ideas, and making something either physical or something that can be spread through the internet or can be projected in an advertising campaign or something like that. So let's see. We have a short presentation that I'm going to go through. Sherry, I want to bring Sherry up too. Sherry, the other great thing about integrated learning at Otis is that we're allowed to have teachers with multiple skill sets. So me as an architect, I really benefit from having Sherry as our mentor. She's at every other class, and her background is marketing and advertising. So she brings another set of skills to the class and to the group that I wouldn't have on my own. And then we also have funding to bring specialists in. So we've had some people who are professional graphic designers, people who work in branding and marketing, and then also some other artists and that are connected to some of the projects that the students propose.
Can I just say one thing before we're going to turn over to the students?
Great.
Hi, I'm Sherry. Thank you so much for having us here. It's really a pleasure.
I just wanted to personally, but on behalf of Otis, thank Dan and Terry. Yes. Rich, the director of Creative Change, was talking to us on the way over about how he's really seen this semester the importance of our students working directly with people that are affected by the causes that we're associated with. And I just can't say enough how big of impact it had on our students, and hopefully they will share with you as well, but when Terry and Dan walked in the studio, because it went from a statistic, COPD, okay, I get it, third largest, fastest growing, we kind of took in all this information that Breathe LA gave us, but when we got to meet Dan and Terry, it changed everything, because we could see, oh my gosh, here's these people, they brought so much life into the studio. And what happens between Dan and Terry and our students is pretty phenomenal. And really what happens is we gain insights. We gain insights into, what it's like to experience COPD, family members, the whole thing. It humanizes it for us. And then our students can take that information and inform the design and the choices that they're making. So I think at the end of the day, the work is much stronger because of Dan and Terry's involvement. So I really just wanted to take a minute to thank them. And not just once, but they've been a couple times, and they're coming back for our final as well. So thank you for that. Hopefully you'll see some of your influence in the work that the students present. Thank you.
Jackie, you want to come help us out?
Well, for those of you that didn't see Jackie the first time, this is Jackie. Jackie, do this and then talk here. So as as they were saying, we are two of the students in the Branding with a Cause Breathe LA class at Otis, and basically as a class, like they said, we're trying to kind of use our design skills in all of our different majors to create events and to create some sort of an awareness campaign or something that can help your cause and help raise awareness for COPD, bring events about COPD, and eventually do something to definitely help improve everybody's situation. This is kind of a presentation that's a little bit in the working. It's part of what we're doing for our final that we're going to present at the end. But basically, I'm not even sure what slides are. Let's see, what are they? Okay, go again. Of course, all of you here know what COPD is, so I don't really have to go through this, but it was definitely, like they were saying, it was definitely a learning experience for us as students. I think on the first day when they asked the students who knew what COPD was, I think only 2 of us raised our hands. And it was only that we really knew it because we either knew somebody who had it or somebody in our family had passed from it. And it's definitely something that we really had only experienced it if it was something on a personal level. We had never heard of it as of having support groups like this or, you know, people like Dan and Terry. So it was definitely an eye-opening experience for us. So what we're doing is we're working with Breathe LA, which is I guess, would you say they're a company? They're a society. They're a nonprofit, and they've been working for like anti-pollution, anti-smoking, a lot of things through Los Angeles, and now they're definitely working strongly with the cause of COPD. So we're trying to connect the needs of the class to the needs of Breathe LA and the needs of people suffering from COPD or those that are affected by it. So the class specifically, like they were speaking about, it's an integrated learning course, and we have Todd and Sherry are our main faculty. Well, Sherry is our mentor, and we have students from all sorts of disciplines. Some of our students are in toy design, some are in digital media. I'm the only one in illustration. There are people from product. And it's kind of taking all of our information that we've learned through our years at school and trying to put them towards a single cause. So we're trying to take all of our different skills and use them in order to support your group and to support the people that are suffering from this disease so that we can get people aware about it and get them motivated to do something about it as well. The goals for our class, our mission is to raise awareness about COPD, making people care, and ultimately do something specifically towards getting tested. Since one of the stats that I think influenced us the most was that 24 million people have it, but about 12 million of them don't know that they do. And they don't understand that getting tested for it and just going to the doctor and finding out about it is something that is really so simple and that more people should be doing to find out about it. We are hoping to mainstream the disease and change public perception. Same things that have happened to AIDS back when nobody knew what it was, but then now it's something that's a household name and everybody knows about it, and everybody knows the effects that it has and how important it is to deal with it. We're hoping to eventually be able to do the same thing with COPD so that it's no longer something that if you mention it on the street, nobody has any idea what you're talking about. And we're trying to do something that's a little bit LA specific, since, of course, that's the area we're in. So one of the things that we're working on and that Jackie's working on specifically, I'm going to pass the mic to her, is we are trying to kind of find a style guide to brand COPD. The logo that you saw on the first page, we're trying to make a signature for it, give it a tagline, give it a logo, give it a brand mark, something that people would be able to see and would be able to recognize. And we're trying to create a style guide around that to kind of show people what it could look like if they ended up doing that. So I'm going to pass it over to Jackie.
So you saw on some of the earlier slides the whole process. We had a board and we had paper that was taped to the walls, and there was a lot of iterations or drawings and plans for what we thought this logo might end up looking like. Ultimately, this is what we decided to use. This is ultimately what we decided to use, making it something that was rounded. We kind of created our own font by using these 4 circles. That's what they originally were, and using that to create the font that eventually spelled COPD. we decided to use the balloon as kind of like the logo or the icon, because with lungs and breathing, when we had Dan and Terry come in, they were telling us that living with COPD, it feels a lot like you're breathing through a paper bag. And so that kind of imagery really stuck with us, and we thought of the balloon because it's the elasticity and the fact that it inflates and deflates. So we really gravitated towards that shape, and we incorporated it into the logo. The tagline, we had a few different ideas, but ultimately what ended up winning out was really simple. It's a lung disease, mostly because even the acronym COPD, a lot of people aren't familiar with it. So instead of trying to make it something like AIDS, where you can even just say that as a word, it's more like COPD, what is it? It's a lung disease. So this was our most straight to the point logo, brand mark, icon. This is kind of our finished final one. This was how we kind of chose the color, the font, the weight. This is more for printing, because we're giving this to a local nonprofit. When they print their business cards, they'll know what colors to use. This is the orange that is like the, I guess, official orange for COPD. And then we decided to contrast it with this gray, which is black. These are different ways that you could compose the same elements that we had before. These we're thinking of turning into stickers that you could put up in various places, maybe where breathing or air quality is an issue, somewhere like around smoking sections or even industrial areas. And it's just a reminder of what it is and another association with it. The awareness campaign. Kirby and I are also working on various ways to incorporate this very logo into different campaigns that will raise awareness throughout the city of what COPD is. So the idea of the stickers was one of them. And Kirby, would you like to?
Sure. Well, we kind of did a few mock-ups of possibly what it would be if there was a COPD campaign, awareness campaign going on around the city. And what I did was I took some of the facts that I learned about COPD and I did mock-up billboards. So this one, it would be very straightforward. It's a billboard just with a simple fact about it. It says every 4 minutes one person dies from COPD. And then it takes our logo, which is the balloon, and the fourth one is one that is popped and is discolored and is laying on the bottom of the floor, even though there's a sky background. And then it would have we have our logo, and at the bottom there's just a little tag that says know what it is to kind of raise awareness. Next one. This is the same kind of idea for a potential billboard with the fact that I mentioned earlier, the 24 million people have it, 12 million people don't know. So they're just kind of ideas of what could happen if we ended up being able to make some sort of campaign. And these would be the types of things that you would see throughout the city. There are also a few other groups besides the awareness campaign. We have one that are working on making patches, because one of the things that really struck with our class was when Terry came in and she said that, you know, you guys have to carry around the oxygen tanks, and it would be kind of interesting to have something that could decorate it or make it look more one of a kind and not so sterile and not so medical. So the team is was working on creating fun patches that you can use to decorate your koozies or to decorate your shirts or your jackets or your backpacks or anything that you have that would talk about the cause of COPD as well as put a little flair into it. We also have a class that's doing a group that's doing a breathing room, which would be kind of like an area that you could go into. Oh, that's the patches. That's an idea of the patches, just letting you know. It's kind of out of order. The breathing room would be like an inflatable space where people could learn about COPD, and it would kind of be part of a health fair. And our last one is I always forget what those are called.
Well,
what are those called?
That's a
That's
Alveoli.
the idea of the breathing room.
Oh.
The public things, the flash mob, there you go. One of the groups is doing a flash mob that would be something about COPD. It would be a group of people and, you know, something along the lines of they all start coughing or they're all wearing COPD shirts, and they do something that is in a public space that will raise awareness and will get people to pay attention. And basically at the end, we want to try and get all of these to a stage where they could possibly happen with the right work and everything put behind it, and, you know, definitely leave you guys with something that you could potentially use for your benefit, and we're hoping that it will help out in some way. So that's our class, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
I know you have a lot. You have a long
And then also, I think the balloons are, you want it to be somewhat happy. I mean, you don't want it to be a depressing thing, so I think that's a really good idea, too.
Thank you for that. I think that the students caught on to that it's not, they don't want it to be a downer. They want it to be something that's uplifting,
Scary
yeah.
machines and, all that kind of stuff.
And that came through meeting Dan and Terry, I have to say, because it put a different face to the disease than we imagined.
Well, I think also with the balloons, it takes a lot of air to blow up a balloon. So I think that has a double meaning.
Yeah, yeah.
Great idea.
How many students are involved in the project?
We have 15, I think. 15. Usually that's about the number. So we have 15 broken into 4 groups.
Does the class continue? I mean, once the class graduates or kind of moves on, do you next semester do this, or is this a one-semester project?
We work with Breathe LA on maybe every other semester, and it kind of depends on what their focus is that semester. So this one, there was something going on about COPD, so they got us in there right away. What will happen to the work is another question. We try to package it, and we try to make it useful for Breathe LA or for someone else, but where it goes from when we hand it over to Breathe LA is kind of up to them. It's possible we could build on it. We have students who could. What's that?
We can hand it off to this group.
Yes, sure. It can be handed off here as well. Any other quick questions? Yeah?
I don't have a question, but I want to express our profound appreciation for what you're doing for us. It's a rather unsophisticated disease, unpopular, and unknown. So thank you so much for doing what you're doing.
Great. Thank you, Grace.